Hey everyone, my name's Leo.
I'm Frank.
We're both here today to give you guys a tour of Brandon Lee's original screen-used hero costume from the film The Crow. This particular costume has been in storage for an incredibly long time and was only recently made available for sale, and I was incredibly blessed to be able to pick that up. So join us while we go into a little detail on this costume piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the tip of the toes to the top of the head. This base was made by Kelly Mark Design Studios. Kelly did an absolutely fantastic job. He's a wonderful artist. In fact, did the entire body display. Kelly asked me what I wanted for the themed base, so I found this image of a Gothic window. And so this design is based on a Gothic window, as well as this beautiful plaque that lists the year that the film was released.
The stone carvings of cathedral type style.
Yeah, and this looks like stone, but it's hollow. So we're going to be going on up here. So what we have here is actually a very unique and interesting cutting and tearing of the inner lining of the trench coat. I'm not 100% sure why they did this. But if you look here, you can see the leather's real clean, and as you get to the bottom, it absorbed a lot of water. So this trench coat would never have been in a rain machine. It would have been maybe spritzed with a water bottle to give the appearance that it was doused in rain. So we're going to be moving on up here. What we have here is a pair of leather pants, which in itself is kind of rare because the movie did not use a whole lot of leather. They use a lot of pleather. You can actually tell in the film that the pleather actually reads very differently on camera, the fake leather. But one very interesting thing that we have here is a little cut.
Yep.
So what this is actually dried stage blood. This was from a deleted scene where Funboy had actually cut Eric with a blade, and what you can tell here is that it's actually still red from the stage blood.
Now I want to point out here, look at the remnants of the duct tape. You can see where it starts and where it ends. Now this is where in the latter portions of the film he had this on. When you see action figures or when you see people cosplay, always has that. And the twine and the duct tape were on there. And this is why people should never wash their screen use collectibles, because you can literally wash off history. And it's pretty remarkable that this is even still there.
I was able to screen match these leather pants, the opening scene where Eric attacks Tintin, and he's only wearing pants and a shirt before he got the trench coat. There's little marks all over that are almost like a little fingerprint. But an even cooler thing is, there is a book on the making of The Crow, and in the book, the wardrobe supervisor is interviewed. And he says Brandon brought him a pair of pants, and he wanted these to be something for his character to wear. And part of what it was silver buttons and leather pants. And the wardrobe supervisor knew you can't replicate that many pairs of pants on such a low budget film. But he said, Brandon, I'll get you one pair of pants that has the silver buttons for the film. And if you put your hand to the buttons, these buttons are cold. So these are the original silver buttons described by Daryl Levine, the wardrobe supervisor, as the pants that he was going to get for Brandon, which makes this a one-of-one pair of pants. So what we're going to do is move on up the torso here. What we have is an original screen-used shirt. As you guys remember from the movie and all the production artwork, the shirt has a very elastic material to it, skin tight, and after all these years it's actually retained a lot of its elasticity, which is really fantastic. We also have this really beautiful dirt design that is from the scene where he fights Tintin. They roll around in the mud, and this patch of dirt shows up quite a few times in the film as the shirt and his everything gets dirtier, and he's doing more battles and stuff. So the fact that this is so perfectly intact, I don't think I've seen another screen-used shirt that has this level of detail of the dirt itself on it. So this is a very, very beautiful. I think it's phenomenal.
And this bullet hole itself, dead center in the shirt, it comes from the scene where he goes to Gideon's pawn shop. Gideon gets aggressive with him. He shoots him dead center, and he shoots him, the wound closes up, and that's when Gideon realizes that he bit off a little bit more than he could chew with this guy.
So now we've reached the most beautiful part of this piece. Well, I mean, the whole thing is beautiful, but this is probably one of the most eye-catching and unique things as well, is that we have essentially Brandon Lee's face. So this is a one-on-one life cast mold from his face. You can actually see little crow's feet here, haha, crow's feet, little acne scars, indentation on his forehead, little pimples, the curvature of his chin. I mean, you can see detail upon detail in this piece that is absolutely phenomenal.
And Brandon's stunt double looked a lot like him, and they wanted me to make a mask on the stunt double of Brandon's face so they could use it in the film. That was really tough. That was really tough. To be honest, when the stunt double wore that thing, it freaked everybody out. I mean, literally freaked them out. When the feeling that you get when you're finishing a film with an actor who's passed on, it's not a good feeling. It's a very morbid feeling. And it's something you deal with personally. You know, you don't feel good about it, but it just needed to be done. That's all, it just needed to be done.
It's absolutely phenomenal. The eyelids were sculpted open because obviously the life cast was a closed eye life cast. The eyebrows were sculpted in, but everything else is a one-to-one representation of Brandon Lee. It is on a custom sculpted neck. It has ears and everything, painted skin tone. Beautiful job. It's on a custom underskull with attached eyes, so the eyes are not attached to the mask. It just appears that way. And this is all made to be removable, so it is still a one-piece latex mask. It's not glued down to anything, which actually makes it very, very beautiful, because it is what it always was, a latex mask. It's just being represented here to its utmost.
This mask gives it the character and the soul of Brandon Lee that he wanted this piece to have, right?
Absolutely. It is the soul of it, because you can see him. It would be just, you know, it would be amazing on its own for it to be the hero coat, hero pants, hero shirt, and everything else, but this is what takes it several steps above and beyond and makes it incredibly iconic, is the soul that this represents. Very well said, French.
And so we're going to go into the details of the lapels right here. Let me switch places with you, Lee. You can better.
Okay, so one of the things that makes this coat so incredibly unique are the lapels. The lapels are what allow it to be screen matched to the original hero screen used trench coat used in the scene when he is in Gideon's pawn shop, the scene when he is in Fun Boy's apartment, the scene when he is talking to Albrecht, the scene where he is talking to T-Bird, which is actually worn by his body double when he launches T-Bird off the dock, as well as the very, very iconic scene towards the end of the film where he's standing at the boardroom and he says the very iconic phrase of, "I see you have made your decision, now let's see you enforce it." This is the coat that he wears up until the moment that his character is shot multiple times. So one thing that I noticed when I first bought this costume, I did not know this was the hero costume when I first bought it. I just knew it was a leather one, which I had always wanted. Which that these lapels are supposed to be like this. This is the way that Frank's holding it and the way that I'm holding it. So when I let this lapel go, it shrinks. And I kept wondering, wow, look at this malformed piece of material. Man, I must have gotten a real cruddy coat, because this is not quite matching up the way I wanted it to. Am I gonna have to get this stitched, tape it? I wasn't gonna do any of those things, but it crossed my mind, like, what am I gonna do? So as I kept watching the film, I kept identifying in all of those hero scenes, this lapel on camera left, our right, sat higher than this one. Can you open that up, Frank? I just kind of rotate it. There we go. It sat a lot higher because they're all supposed to start here. So I said, why is this starting up here? And every scene that I would see, it would identify this lapel as this much, much shorter thing. And as you can see, every time I try to straighten it, it just goes right back to what this shape. So this comes from the fact that this is leather. It's got a weight to it. These are hand stitched. This is not a off the shelf something that you would buy at a clothing store. This is hand stitched by the wardrobe department. So it's going to have all these little imperfections. And that's one really amazing way to screen match this coat. And the same thing with the side that's near Frank over here. So in the scene when Eric is attacking Fun Boy, and Fun Boy shoots at him, and he takes a hit to the shoulder, they actually put a squib in here. There is the remnant of tape, remnant of stage blood. You can see where it was cut open by the wardrobe people. It was purposely unstitched. And then it was actually just, it looks like it was like glued back down. And the little squib, the little pyro was in there. And if you look at the material, it's burnt. This material is burnt. It's got a scorched quality to it. So that's how you know a live squib came out of there. Throughout the film, because of this new imperfection, and because this is leather, it slowly starts to collapse in on itself. So by the time you get to the final scene, it's at about here. So if you look at the scene when he's in the boardroom, this lapel is here and this lapel is here, and it is just the greatest feeling in the world to be able to say, I own this piece. And of course, this had been in storage for more than 20 years. So in storage, this lapel got to the point where you see it now, where it's given into its own weight. But that is how you identify this coat as the hero coat. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail here. So what we have is actually 3 bullet holes. This one's kind of hard to see because the material is kind of caved in a bit, and it's a little crispy from the stage blood. You can actually hear the crispiness. These are from the 3 bullet holes that the character receives. But one of the greatest things I think about the back of this piece is one of the most iconic scenes for me is the scene after Eric has launched T-Bird off the dock, and in a wide angle shot you see the bird, the shape of a crow in flames coming out, and then you see the character walking in slow motion away from the flames as the flames kind of lick up in the foreground, and you actually see what you're seeing is the back of this costume. So as I mentioned, this costume has been in storage, so it's kind of been laid flat for a while, but you know, as it hung before, when it was, you know, brand new in 1993, it sat at about here, and you could see the chunkiness of this material matches exactly to when Eric Draven is walking away, because it's actually not Brandon Lee, it's Jeff Cadiente, his stunt double. So like I said, with stunt doubles and body doubles, they just try not to show the face, they show other elements. So the fact that they focused on this, and the fact that this is mine, and the fact that I own this, is just, it's beyond words. On top of that is something that is actually quite emotional, which is, you know, this is, I am actually getting goosebumps as I'm pulling this out. So as Brandon Lee wore this coat quite often, as it was his hero coat, he left his hair clip. You know, this is a vintage hair clip back from 1993. You know, he had a long hair, and I'm sure didn't want it in his face all the time, so in his left pocket he had his hair clip, and it's still there, and I have made a conscious decision to leave it there where he left it. And in the right pocket, excuse my coming into the camera, he left a stick of gum, Wrigley's extra sugar-free gum with NutraSweet, and there's still one gum in there. And it's crazy. I mean, it actually gives me goosebumps sometimes to hold it and go like, it's the one piece of gum he didn't chew.
That's sad.
It's beyond words.
Yeah.
It really is. I want to leave the hair clip and the gum exactly where he left them. and there they'll always remain. So we've reached the end. Thank you all so much for watching this. It's been my absolute pleasure to bring this display to you guys.
And I know your main goal here was to preserve the legacy of not only the film, but the legacy of Brandon Lee.
Absolutely.
And a fallen legend. And you've done a tremendous job, I think.
I do this exactly for that, to keep Brandon's legacy alive and going, and have it be a thing of conversation amongst people, and it's been an absolute joy and pleasure. Thank you for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.